there's this perception there's an image problem. The stuff at Auburn, the stuff at Ohio State. Is that just because of internet and immediacy, stuff's out there, scrutiny, or is that something that concerns coaches?
Well, it's hard to blame the media for reporting things that happen. I mean, you make your own bed, and I think what's changed a little bit is stories aren't going away like they used to. And I think because there's so many media outlets now, it just keeps coming. And so what used to be a one-day story or a three-day story now is a 4-month story. And then what that does is it incites constant discussion on the issues. And so it's important that we as coaches, we have to adjust and dot our I's and cross our T's even more so. Because, yeah, I mean, to say that there's been a bad perception out there in the last year, how can you argue that there's not been? I mean, there's been some bad headlines. And, I'm not here to, speak on all those because I don't know what really happened. I don't know the facts. And I'm not here to assign any blame. It's just that's what's happened out there. And what it does is it reminds you, number one, of the responsibility that you have. And it's something I try to remind our players, the responsibility that they have and how they represent this place, because it doesn't take much for something bad to happen.
Derek, Urban Meyer, since he's been out of coaching, has made some comments regarding what he perceives as a decreased integrity in the sport over the last 5 years. He didn't specify any programs or anything. Do you think that's valid? Do you feel that way at all?
I haven't felt that way, and in many cases, John, I felt like that. It's in many ways better than it ever has been. It's just the scrutiny and the exposure is different. That's not to say that there aren't problems out there, and that's not to say that there aren't some things that are happening that shouldn't be happening. But I'm not in the panic mode of this place is turning upside down. I don't think it is. I think there's a ton of people and programs that are out there trying their best to do it right. It doesn't mean that they don't make mistakes. I certainly do. And it doesn't mean that they're perfect. I'm not. But I think the bulk of the profession and the industry is trying like heck to do it right. And so I still have a lot of confidence in that. And I don't think there's ever going to be a time where everybody's always doing it right. And I think that there's enough oversight that it's never going to get to a point where it's out of control.
Derek, does it bother you when a coach says this after he gets out of coaching and he's in the media?
Not really. Everybody's pretty guarded when they're the coach because they don't want to get impacted in recruiting anyway. And they certainly don't want to be ostracized by their fellow coaches. So I don't think so. And look, I've always been one that has not, you guys have heard me say that the exposure that we get at Tennessee, it keeps you on your toes. And so there's a real positive to it. And if guys aren't at least raising the issues, then you can get real complacent in what you're doing and start slipping down that path. And so in many ways, I think it's a good check and balance, and it keeps you healthy, and it keeps you strong, and it keeps you kind of staying on the right track. I know for sure all this stuff that's happening, at Ohio State. I mean, every other coach out there, if they're ever presented that situation, I'm sure they'll think about how they handle it. And so, you can't get angry at people reporting on the truth.